What's up guys, Doomwake here, welcome back to another modern video on the channel. As always, before we continue, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the video. Today we're going to be exploring something I played about a month and a half back, I think. This was something that I explored early on in the first couple weeks of MH2 with Ragavan. It's one of the shells that I think Ragavan might be the best in, and that is Ponza. So Ponza is a traditional, it's a deck that's been around for quite some time in Modern. Traditionally, it's using mana acceleration in combination with mana denial. So you're ahead on mana, your opponent's behind on mana, and just some really powerful, top-end threats. The best part about this deck is with Utopia Sprawl and Arbaleth, you get to utilize a lot of powerful 3-drops. Notably here, Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, Seasoned Pyromancer, and then you can also accelerate into Bloodbraid Elf. Ragavan is a huge addition to this deck because not only does it provide you additional turn 1 acceleration, which curves you into your 3-drops very nicely. Turn 2 Blood Moon is in a really good spot right now. There's a lot of Urza's Saga, there's a lot of Urza's Power Plants. There's just a lot of decks that are kind of soft to Blood Moon. So, getting more access to a turn 2 Blood Moon is pretty good, and then also just a threat that's good. It's like a 1-drop that's good on turn 1, and also good on turns 5, 6, 7, and onward, because you can always just dash it in. You can, if you have enough mana, you can steal a card from your opponent, maybe just get up a spell that way. So, it's really awesome. We have Bloodbraid Elf here, which is kind of a standby. In Modern, it's been around for a while, and it's really powerful. You've seen it in Jund decks before, and it's good in this deck because it's a hasty threat, can attack Planeswalkers, and also just provides you some additional card advantage. Bonecrusher Giant is sort of like your clean 2-for-1. It's a 2-mana spell, but can also just be a 3-mana spell if your opponent, like if you just want to play a creature on turn 2, sometimes that's where you want to be. And then Fury is another good addition too, because you have a lot of red cards, so you're not short on ways to sort of pitch it. So it's good defense early. One of the ways that people sort of beat Ponza usually is by casting a bunch of spells and putting a bunch of stuff into play before it gets its mana situated. And Fury is a pretty good way to sort of prevent that from happening. And then we got some bolts and some red and 6s to round it out. Red and 6 is historically not the best in Ponza, because when you have Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon in play, you're not fetching anymore, so your fetch lands are kind of turned off anyways. But you have Seasoned Pyromancer to discard them, and Ren can get that back. And when you don't, the games where you don't have Blood Moon, Ren and 6 is pretty good, just giving you additional land drops and provide a threat that your opponent has to deal with eventually, because Ren in combination with Bolt will close out a game pretty quickly. Mana base, nothing fancy. Forests, mountains, shock lands, fetch lands. Sideboard, we got Pillage and Ancient Grudge for your artifact decks. Pillage, the nice thing about Pillage is it has some good utility. It's not the most efficient card in terms of a 3-mana card destroying an artifact, but it has a lot of versatility because it's good against big mana. It's good against Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine, Amulet, stuff like that. But it also just can destroy an artifact, so you can justify bringing it in against artifact-based decks like maybe Hammer Time, and because it can blow up a hammer, stuff like that. Endurance, good against Living End and Mill. I'm sure there's some of the graveyard decks. You would probably want to bring it in against the DRC decks as well. Tireless Tracker when you need to sort of go longer and get some card advantage, some additional threats that way. Deglamour to answer Heliod's been picking up a little bit in popularity. So there's only one copy, but it is a disenchant that answers Heliod, answers Klothys, answers things that are normally indestructible. Also good against Wormcoil Engine, so you're bringing it against Tron. Klothys, very good threat against the Lurrus decks and Blue-White Control that's been popping up recently. And then Chalice of the Void, which you might find interesting with Bloodbraid Elf. However, when we bring in Chalice, we almost always want to put it on 0. As you notice, we have a lot of 1-mana cards ourselves, so we're not really looking to put Chalice on 1 anyways. So when we bring in Chalice, it's mostly for 0, and Bloodbraiding into a Chalice on 0 is just fine. So, that is the deck, and without further ado, let's get into some games. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 1. Alright, everybody, here for round number 1 of our Ponza League. Let's see what we got. We got Mana Acceleration, we got a Blood Moon. I'm going to keep. I am going to lead on Utopia Sprawl. Typically, it is better to lead on Arbor Elf because you can have access to 4 mana on turn 2. However, given that our second land is a red producing land, which means we can't tap this to put the Sprawl in the forest, A, we don't have that line available to us, and B, if we play Arbor Elf and our opponent kills it, we then can't play Blood Moon. So you want to lead on Utopia Sprawl here. I'm going to get a forest, and I'm going to name green with Utopia Sprawl, and then I can have second red with the second Utopia Sprawl. But I think it's maybe more important to have access to double green early on. Yeah, I think this makes sense. And then we can name red with the second Sprawl once we have the Blood Moon in play. Ketria Triome. I'm going to assume that turn 2 Blood Moon is pretty good against Ketria Triome. I'm gonna assume that is where we want to be. Let's see what they got. Unclear what flavor of Ketria Triome. So this could be Velomachus, could be Scapeshift. One of those two decks usually. That's what this means. Okay, so let's go Utopia Sprawl here. Name red. Play Wrenn and 6, get back the Wooded Foothills, and then pass. And this way we have 2 green, 3 red. Covers most of our bases. Probably just going to go Stomp and play a 4-3 next turn, because I have access to 5 mana. Do kind of want to try and get this game over with before they maybe get from under the Blood Moon, but depending on what deck they're playing, that might not be possible, so... Alright, game number 2. Still not sure what we're playing against. Could be Scapeshift, could be Velomachus. Would I sideboard differently for those decks? I'm not sure that any of my cards on my sideboard are that good against those decks. Pillage, perhaps, if I wanted some additional land destruction, although Pillage on the draw against Wrenn and 6 is a risky proposition. So I think that's maybe not where I want to be. To be honest with you, I kind of don't really want any of these cards. So I'm just going to resubmit, see what give me more information on what they're playing. If they were playing Velomachus specifically, like there's not really much in my sideboard that I think I would change. Again, Pillage is not bad, but not great against Wrenn and 6. Chalice not good. I'm not trying to play a long game with Tracker and Klothys. Endurance doesn't really have much targets. Grudge, I guess you can justify because it blows up treasures from Prismari Command, so that it makes it harder for them to go for... what's that card? Indomitable Creativity, but I think this particular hand I'm going to mulligan because it's so weak to just a removal spell, specifically Wrenn and 6. Like if I kept this hand and my opponent turn 2 Wrenn and 6, I'm just cold. Okay, this hand's a little bit better. I think I'm going to put back the Smashing. This hand is acceptable. Turn 1 Ragavan. Hopefully we can connect. If not, maybe we'll stomp something on turn 2. This curve is kind of nice, because if they have Wrenn and 6 to tick down in the Ragavan on turn 2, we can then just stop the Wrenn and 6, so it's not too bad. Like, even if our Wrenn and 6 dies, or even if our Ragavan dies. I could play Sprawl, but given my hand, I think I'm just going to play Ragavan first. Their deck doesn't usually have... I guess sometimes they have Bolt, but... Again, this hand, like, if they have Wrenn and 6, it's not that bad, because I can actually just go Sprawl, stomp your Wrenn and 6, and then turn 3 Bloodbraid Elf. Now, it's worse if they follow this up with a Teferi, because then they can stop the Cascade, but... This exchange is not too bad for us. So we're going to go Sprawl here, name red, stomp the Wrenn and 6, and then just hope they don't have Teferi. It's probably the card that we want to see the least, because it stops our Cascade. Okay, Ragavan Triumph is acceptable. Let's go fetch for a forest, because I just want to thin my deck a little bit. Let's see if we can hit a Blood Moon. There it is. They could have a counterspell, delay or remand. Yeah, okay. So probably the Velomachus deck if they have remand. I mean, they could just go Dwarven Mind plus Creativity, and then we're probably cold, but we didn't really have a lot of defense against that. We just kind of had to play our cards. Okay, no Dwarven Mind. It's good for us. Let's deck first. I think I have to play Blood Moon this turn. I could play a 4-3, but... Aether Gust. Yeah, I think I gotta top that. Because I have 6 mana, which means I can go Blood Moon plus Bone Crusher next turn. And I do think I need to at least try to stop them from Dwarven Mining. They have an Omnath? I guess topping that's bad against Omnath. Creativity, oh, to shuffle away the Blood Moon. That's kind of smart. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, had all these. Classic. I guess they can fetch for a Plains in response if they have Prismatic Ending. But they still need another basic. Alright, they're just going to get the Dwarven Mine, which also makes sense. I will happily offer this trade, because that shuts off future creativities. Huh. I wonder why they didn't just creativity their thing. I guess they were worried about me having a removal spell? Which maybe means they have another creativity, and I'm supposed to just hold up mana there. But, yeah. I don't know. Alright, well, they have an Emrakul, so we're probably dead. Okay. I mean, we have some stuff to sack to an Emrakul. Can maybe get out of this. Just go to 2. I'd rather just cast this and then sack all my lands. Because this is lethal damage. This is 9. If they don't have a bolt. So I can sack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep a land and have Rin represent 9. That's all I got. Gotta do it. That's why I wanted to cast the Ragavan. Although I guess I could have held the Ragavan. Ooh, no attacks. You like to see that. Now can I attack with everything? They block the Bone Crusher, take 5, go to 4. They still can't attack. If they block Ragavan, they take 7 and go to 2, which I don't think they can afford to do. So I think I'm down to just attack with everything. We can also float mana, sack Pyromancer, and get some more tokens that way, so... Alright, they took a Ragavan hit, which means now we can go 2 damage to them and then loot. So 2 damage, loot, blue, red, green. So they go to 2. We found a Bloodbraid and a Fury. Let's discard Fury and a Forest. Actually, no, let's just discard these 2 and cast the Fury. I mean, we're dead if they find it. You know what, actually? I probably should have cast Bloodbraid up to try and find Bolt, because we're dead if they have a Bolt. So I think I was supposed to cast Bloodbraid Elf there. Okay, well, they conceded. Would I have hit the Bolt? Would have hit Pyromancer into Blood Moon that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting match. I mean, Blood Moon obviously very good against the Dwarven Mine decks, so not much to say there. But, I mean, they did their thing, you know? I mean, I guess they didn't do their thing on curve. I wonder, they must have just not had the Dwarven Mine on turn 4? Because they had 2 creativities, so I kind of assumed they would have had, you know, one of them on turn 4, but maybe they just didn't have the fetch land for mine. Anyways, 1-0. That's cool. I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 2. Alright, YouTube, round number 2. Let's see what we got. Ponza time. This hand is really awkward. Because I have Stomping Ground, Utopia Sprawl, but that is not a combo with Blood Moon. I guess I can keep this hand, go Stomping Ground, Utopia Sprawl, named Green, Shatter Skull Smashing, Pyromancer, discard Fury, Blood Moon, and then maybe Blood Moon. I'm gonna keep this hand. Maybe I also just discard the Blood Moons, because maybe they're playing a deck where Blood Moon's not good against. But man, this hand is awkward. You know what I could do? I could Smashing on 1 to try and find a basic forest. Maybe that's better. Maybe just play Smashing or Stomping Ground tapped. But it is nice to be able to play Seasoned Pyromancer on 2. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. I don't know if this is right, but I meant to name Green. Oops. It's not that big of a deal. If the Utopia Sprawl is dying, it's not really that relevant either way. Okay. Well, we have a Blood Moon. Is that good enough? I guess I don't have to play Blood Moon on turn 1 against Tron, right? I can wait a turn. So maybe I'm supposed to play Pyromancer first, discard Magus Blood Moon? Yeah. And then I could just Blood Moon next turn. I guess if they're playing E-Tron, they could play a Mana Reshaper, which would be somewhat annoying, but I'm just going to hope that Blood Moon's good enough. I think that's my plan. Which, it might be. The reason I wanted to wait on it is because I wanted to get the 4 power into play first. Like, it's not like there's anything horrible that can happen to me on turn 2 if I wait. And I wanted to discard the Magus because I don't want to rely on Magus because they... Oh! I was not expecting that. Alrighty. Well, I guess that is punishment. I can't say I expected Surgical Extraction out of my Tron opponent. So, forgive me. Forgive me. That is the first time that has ever happened to me. Okay. Well, lesson learned, I guess. Lesson learned. I don't know what they're playing, but here we are. Warping Whale. So I guess they're E-Tron with main deck Surgical? Also maybe should have bolted this, but... E-Tron with main deck Surgical is so odd. I don't know. Maybe they're doing something different. Undecided. I'm not going to bolt anything yet. I'm just going to attack. Can't say that my... I was expecting to get Surgicaled off of Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine. But here we are. If they don't block, I think I'm just going to bolt this thing upkeep. They're clearly looking to do something with it. Because they didn't block. But they also didn't have Thought Knot Seer last turn, so... Well, that's not good. Sinnoh-Stone? Chromatic Sphere. Green Tron with main deck Surgical, huh? I'm not really sure what that's trying to do. Like, what is the benefit of playing main deck Surgical? I'm not sure I see it. I mean, we're dead. This game's over, but... Well, I guess I learned my lesson today. I should have played the Blood Moon. I'm just going to exile the Bolt, kill the Ugin, and then have Hardcast Fury potentially next turn. Wow. Surgical Extraction, huh? Alright. Touche. Touche. Are they going to map? I guess that's probably going to get Blast Zone? Yavimaya. Okay. Yeah. If they have any big payoff, I'll probably just scoop. Any big payoff at all. Alright, yeah, I'm out of here. Okay, well, that was an interesting game. I got Deglamour, I got Pillage, and maybe Grudge. I think Bolt/Fury is not great. Some number of that needs to go. Also, can't imagine this is a Red and 6 matchup. Maybe just like 2 Red and 6, a Bolt, and 2 Furies. Yeah, let's try that. Alright, well, learn my lesson. Play around Surgical. Although, I would kind of imagine they're going to board out Surgical. Although, who knows? Maybe it's part of their... Maybe it's part of their a bigger plan. Alright, game number 2. We're going to try not to get Surgical this game. This hand sucks. Alright, turn 2 Blood Moon. I'll keep it. Put back Bone Crusher Giant so I can keep the Ragavan around. Or, excuse me, keep the Seasoned Pyromancer. So I'm going to go Ragavan into Blood Moon, into Pillage, into Pyromancer, hopefully. Definitely going to play Ragavan on 1. Sucks if they have Dismember, but I got to at least go for the turn 2 Blood Moon. They don't have Dismember. I think I would much rather lead on Blood Moon and then follow up with Pillage if they get a basic forest. I think that's where I want to be. Ooh. We stole their Dismember. That's nice. So that means they're not drawing Dismember for Ragavan, and that's pretty good for us. That is pretty good for us. There is some consideration to lead on something that's not Blood Moon, because if they have a Disenchant in their hand, like, maybe they go Land Cycle Star just to try and hit land drops, and then we slam the Blood Moon. So maybe there's consideration to doing it that way. Not sure which is right. Yeah, see, like here they could just have Nature's Claim. Alright, let's attack. What do they got? Ancient Stirrings. Is there any reason to cast that? Is there any reason not to cast that? I don't think so. See if we can find a land. We did. Any order. Let's play the land they know about, and let's just start pillaging them. Alright, so now they could have Nature's Claim, which it looks like they do, because they're popping that now. Nope, no Nature's Claim. Alright, good. Good. Next turn we can go Pyromancer, look for something else. Ooh, blew up the mine and they had a second mine. Well, we had no way of knowing that, so... Just all random. Alright, attack you with Ragavan. Grudge is actually not a bad draw because of Oblivion Stone. So let's go Pyromancer. We actually get to discard the Grudge and have it in the graveyard, which is kind of cool. And pass. And now we have what is likely to be a 2-turn clock, because we can attack them for 6 and then play a Fury, so... They do not have too much time to dirtle around. And it does not look like they even have the O-Stone, although we have that covered regardless, so... Not like it would matter too much. I think I might just pillage here. See what we hit. Chromatic Star. I guess I can cycle that. I'm just debating if I want to pillage or Fury. It's definitely safer to pillage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana. Yeah, okay. Well, the Bloodbraid Elf gives us lethal next turn anyways, so let's just pillage. Let's just make it so that if they have access to green mana next turn plus disenchant for Blood Moon, then they can't do anything. That's why it's a little bit safer, because the Bloodbraid Elf puts lethal in play anyways, because we have 6 plus the Elf. So the Elf would have been lethal regardless. Alright, game 3. We didn't get Surgical that game, which is a plus. This hand is a mulligan. And this hand has a turn 2 Blood Moon. I think I'm going to put back Fury. Yeah. I want to keep the second Blood Moon in case they have a Disenchant for the first one. I keep saying Disenchant. I mean Nature's Claim or Naturalize. I guess Naturalize is the green version of Disenchant. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I could have let on Ragavan, but on the draw when they keep 7, I want to try and play around Dismember. Because I can just dash Ragavan on 2. Or the turn after I Moon, I should say. So I think it's fine to do it this way. I'm fetching here just to thin my deck a little bit. I know that I could have just played Forest and this would have been a red source anyways, but I don't really want to draw lands, so I don't mind thinning. And then next turn I can actually go dash Ragavan and cast second Blood Moon to play around a Naturalize. Nature's Claim, all that stuff. Alright, well they had Natty Tron. They may or may not have anything to do with it. Alright, let's dash Ragavan. Seems like they have Dismember. I could have just played the second Blood Moon, but I think this is fine. Alright, we got a lot of Blood Moons. I don't want to expose too many, because I am a little bit worried about Oblivion Stone. So there is some consideration to holding back maybe the third one, but I do kind of want to at least play one. Okay. See if they plus or minus. They minus, so now I can bolt it. And they hit. Maybe they're getting the O-Stone. So we need to find a Grudge pretty quickly. Sometimes they have O-Stone in the sideboard. And by sometimes, I mean, I think they always do. And I can't imagine they would get anything else. Crucible of Worlds. Okay, that one I don't care too much about. Because I do not plan on blowing up their lands. I plan on making them mountains, but... Alright, just going to cast the second Blood Moon. Again, just to try and play around and Naturalize, but... I don't love our spot, because we don't have any threats. And while Blood Moon is good against Tron, if you give them infinite time, they will just get to 7 lands and start casting Karns and Wormcoils, so... You know, Blood Moon is good, it's just not... It's not the end-all, be-all. You do need to back it up with pressure. And they also have Karn the Great Creator, which is a card they can pretty easily cast under a Blood Moon. Alright, there's green mana, which may turn on a Nature's Claim in their hand. Crucible of Worlds, that is acceptable. Alright, Bloodbright Elf. Okay. Let's discard the last Blood Moon. I just want to get this into play. Can find a Ragavan to dash. Found Land Utopia Sprawl. Alright, let's do this. Name red. Yeah, I guess I'll name green. Play the land, pass. Don't have a lot of action here. Green mana. What do they got? No Nature's Claims. Like, they're just going to cast a Wormcoil Engine. Nope, I guess not. Like, we need to get this game over with quickly. That's why I want to draw Bloodbright Elf, because I think it's the most amount of pressure. Like, Elf into Bone Crusher, or maybe Pyromancer is just provides a good amount of pressure. Crucible does shut off our pillages, because if we draw pillage and pillage the power plant, we don't get to... They just get to replay it, so... I guess in that case we might pillage the Crucible, but it's not really accomplishing much. Ancient Stirrings. Alright, what you got? Chromatic Sphere, sure. Got a Chromatic Sphere. And nothing. Bloodbright Elf. How about a Utopia Sprawl? I'm actually going to keep that in my hand to discard the Pyromancer to make more 1/1s if I do draw Pyromancer. I just don't really need the extra mana. It's not really relevant. I wonder why they're not sacking these spheres in their main phase. Because they obviously don't have a Nature's Claim. And I feel like they could just hit an Ancient Stirrings or something. Yep, this is what I was talking about. They just get the 7 lands and start casting Karns. We just didn't have enough pressure this game. Kind of got flooded out. We got Blood Moon flooded, as well as being mana flooded did not help. I'm going to keep going back to that game number 1 where I got my Blood Moon Surgicaled. I still find it so wild that they have Surgical in their main deck. Alright, got a Pyromancer. That's at least something. Okay. I got a Bloodbright Elf. It's not bad. Can grudge that. Play Forest, so I can maybe flashback the Grudge and attack Garn for 6. That way, if they minus it, it goes to 1, and then we can pretty easily kill it. So, maybe I was supposed to just attack them for 6. Put them to 7, and then this is just lethal. I hadn't thought about that. That might have been better. Although I lose to Ugin no matter what, so... Alright, you win. Yeah, I guess I got Surgical to game 1, and game 2 was pretty easy. Game 3, we kind of just flooded out, so not a whole lot to say there. I guess the lesson learned is play around Surgical out of your mono-green Tron opponent game 1. Anyways, see you back in just a little bit for round number 2. Alrighty, YouTube, round number 3, Ponza, we're 1-1. And I got a turn 2 Blood Moon. I'm going to keep it. Well, if my elf doesn't die. Most decks can kill an elf on turn 1. The decks that can't kill an elf on turn 1 are usually decks where Blood Moon is good against. So this hand's either really good or really bad. That's my assessment. Alright, I got an elf. What do they got? Just go Urza's Power Plant, something. Ooh. Blood Moon may or may not be good against their deck. We'll see. Should probably tap my land for mana before it. I just don't know if I want to play Magus here. Magus does pressure them. Yeah, I'll play the Magus. I don't know if they have answers to the Magus, but... Okay. So Jwari Ruins, this is some sort of like either Belcher. It's certainly some sort of Belcher deck. Maybe Oops All Spells. They just conceded. Okay, that's kind of weird. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna bring in some Land Destruction, Deglamor, and Answers to Belcher. And I mean, they could be playing Oops All Spells. Endurance is obviously good against those, but not very good against Belcher specifically. So let's just do that and maybe cut the Furies. I think when you're cutting the Fury, you can also justify cutting the Smashing. But I don't know, having more lands is not bad. I gotta have one of these cards in my deck, or like 2 Furies. I guess I'll just have 1 Fury. I'm not gonna bring in Endurance until I know for a fact that they're Oops All Spells, because it just doesn't have any targets against Belcher. And I mean, usually against Belcher, Blood Moon is bad, but they just conceded to it, so I don't know. It's obviously good against their deck, so I'm not gonna cut Blood Moon. I think I'm gonna play Sprawl here just to play around a removal spell. I'm not sure if that's right, but I guess if they have a removal spell, it's likely killing Magus anyway, so maybe that's just a bad argument. Could Pillage. Let's actually just Pillage them. I think I like that better. Blue mana. Opt. Optorino, huh? Wonder what's going on over there. It's got to be some sort of Belcher deck. There's a card, I think it's called Selective Memory. Lets you 3 and a blue search for any number of non-land cards and remove them from the game. So maybe they're playing with that. Alright, well now we're going to play Magus. Although it sucks if they have Bolt, but this does maybe cut them off of blue mana. Looks like they have Bolt. Okay. They're definitely doing something unfair with Belcher, I would have to assume. So the Selective Memory stuff is usually for Thassa's Oracle, because they can just remove their deck from the game and then play Thassa's Oracle. But Manamorphose, blue-red, and nothing else. Okay. So let's go Arbor Elf. Play this, tapped, pass. Guess maybe I could have cut some bolts. Maybe if they are doing Thassa's Oracle stuff, I want to play Endurance. So if we go to game 3, maybe I'll cut bolts for Endurances or something like that. Bolt does not seem to have very many targets against them. Alright, they're not playing a land. That's good. Yeah, that's fine. Need to find a threat. That's a threat. Ask and you shall receive. And a Magus? That's a pretty good turn. That is a pretty good turn after they've already used 2 bolts for the Magus. This might cut them off blue mana, which is pretty important. Pretty decent clock, because we can 3 them to 17, 5 them to 12. We're like pretty close to having a 3-turn clock with the 2 bolts. We're a point short of that right now, because it's 3, then 5, then 5, which is 13, putting them to 7, and then we have 2 bolts, which is 6. So if we can find 1 point of damage this draw step or next draw step, then we have a 3-turn clock. Well, I guess it would have to be this draw step, like a creature. Pyromancer or Arbor Elf or something like that. They could have Anger of the Gods. I don't know if that card's in their deck. Might be. Heretic Ritual. Are they just going to fire off a Belcher? I hope so. Hopefully it's not Ironcrag Feet. Because Ironcrag Feet plus Belcher would obviously kill us. Alright, Ritual, Reveal, Ritual. Oh, and then they just have the Belcher. Okay, so we're dead. I do want to see what their deck is, though. I want them to show me the cards, and then I will concede. Because I just want to see more of what their deck is. Okay, so... Seagate. They do have Ironcrag Feet. They have Empty... Belcher, Baral. So they're like this weird Belcher Storm hybrid? Interesting. Okay. Okay. I see what you're doing. Alright, well... so they're not doing fastest Oracle stuff. Alright, well, Fury's a little bit better against Baral and Electromancer. Same with Bolt. Endurance is still not the best. Because I didn't see a Past in Flames. Unless I missed it. I think I'm gonna cut... Let's cut 3 cards. Maybe Bone Crusher Giant. Or maybe Magus because they have a million bolts. Like 1 Bone Crusher. The thing about Bone Crusher is Stomp does not kill Baral. So as a 2 damage spell, it kills Electromancer but not Baral. So it's kind of awkward. Here I can go green, Sprawl Name Red, and then just start pillaging them. So yeah, this hand's good. You can go basic forest, Sprawl Name Red, and then just fire off a bunch of pillages and hope that we can figure it out from there. I do like the smashing as an additional red land that's also just like a spell. Because like these decks kind of want 21 lands anyways. So having access to an extra land that's also a spell and happens to pitch to Fury is pretty good. Like, I think it's kind of underrated how good the smashing is in these decks. Because you kind of want an extra mana source anyways, but you don't want to get flooded. And Fury and this is like the perfect example of a card that gives you a mana source, but that like sort of prevents flooding in a sense. All right, well, land, that'd be nice. Dash Ragavan's not bad either. Maybe I'm supposed to just cast Bone Crusher Giant there. I'm not sure. Can Pyretic Ritual out a Bone Crusher Giant? Yeah, I'm in. That's funny. All right, your turn. That's hilarious. Pyretic Ritual out a Bone Crusher Giant. Did not think I was going to be doing that this game. And now if they have Brawl, we can just Fury it. Yeah, alright, we're good. They're discarding. Seems like Double Pillage got him pretty good. Honestly, kind of want to just cast another Bone Crusher Giant. I don't want to spend my turn dashing Ragavan because I can't do anything else if I do that. Could also Stomp plus Hardcast Ragavan, but... This is 8, putting them to 6. Right, 10. Yeah, maybe that was worse. Now that I think about it, might have just been better to go Stomp plus Ragavan. Alright, still haven't found a land. Now I'm just going to play Pyromancer. I should have played it pre-combat, but... So they go to 6. I'm going to discard... I think I'm just going to discard Fury Bloodbraid Elf. And then I'm going to hold on to the Ragavan in case they just randomly have anger. But, I mean, if their hand is just like Ritual, like land, Ritual. The nice thing is if they have an untapped land, they have to go to 3 and then we can just bolt them. So even if they had an untapped land, Ritual, feat Belcher, we would still just kill them. So, yeah, interesting matchup. We blew up some lands. Game 1, they just couldn't beat a Blood Moon. And then Game 3, we just pillaged them a bunch. So, I don't know, not much to say. 2-1. I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 4. Alrighty, you two back here for round number 3. We got 2 lands, a Sprawl, a Ragavan, some Furies. Yeah, this hand's fine. Again, the smashing doing a little bit of work here. I think, depending on what they're playing, I might lead on Sprawl. See what they're up to. Yeah, they probably have Fatal Push. I'm going to lead on Sprawl. Just name Red. I don't want to get punked out by a Fatal Push on my Ragavan. Like, the nice thing about Ragavan is when they show removal, you can just not play it and dash it later, you know? Like, you have enough mana acceleration that you can afford to sort of take a turn off. Marsh Flats Rogran Triumph is interesting. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, some 4-color nonsense. Second Fury is not the best. I'm just going to play Pyromancer here. And I think I'm going to discard 2 Furies. I think I want to keep the Bolt in case they have... Yeah. Okay. Now drawing a land would be nice. So then we can just slam up Bloodbraid Elf. But the second and third Furies are going to be pretty hard. Like, first of all, they might just be playing a control deck, in which case Fury is just bad anyways. And yeah, so it looks like they're playing some sort of control deck. So yeah, Fury is not great anyways, and like just having to pitch a Fury to kill something is not where you want to be in a matchup like this. All right, so they play Tef. Tef plus, huh? Okay. Ooh, that was a really good draw. All right, so let's go attack Tef for 4. I imagine their deck is probably not the best against Blood Moon. I would have to guess that their Ragavan Shrine Watery Grave Castle Vantress deck, not the best against the Blood Moon. I could have killed Teferi there with the Fury, but... Alright, they now have access to black and red mana. Alright, I'm just going to kill Teferi. I'm just going to send everything into Teferi because they probably have Fatal Push. I'm just, you know, I'm in a commanding position. I might as well just guarantee I kill Teferi, because Teferi is the only way that they're going to be able to bounce Blood Moon, I would assume. Just get it out of the way. I'm just going to cast Bone Crusher Giant, too. They could have Fatal Push for the Bone Crusher, but then they go to 17. I think that's a fine exchange. Looks like they do. So this appears to be just Esper control with a random Ragavan Shrine to be able to, for Prismatic Ending. That's actually not too bad, because now I can get back a Foothills and a Dash Ragavan. And that's my 4th mana source. Which is kind of cool. So they go to 11, and we just pass. Should have played the Elf. Kind of don't think it matters. Alright, my turn. Let's just play Elf of the Bloodbraid variety. So we got Stomp You. They go to 9. We go Dash Ragavan. That should be lethal. Alright, game number 2 against some 4-color nonsense. Clothis good, Tracker good. Pillage might be good. It's kind of narrow. I am going to probably cut Lightning Bolts. I want to cut Furies, actually. I think I want to cut Fury before Bolt. So it's a question of, do I want any of these cards over Bolt? Possibly Endurance, possibly Pillage. Maybe I do like a 2-Bolt, 2-Pillage split. Their mana base does not seem very good, so I'm kind of down to play Pillage. Let's do that. Okay, we're back here for game number 2. I don't have any mana acceleration. Sounds kind of slow, but we do have a Seasoned Pyromancer and some good grinding elements, good 2-for-1s. So even though we don't have mana, changed my mind. We now have mana acceleration. Changed my mind. That was a good draw. Although it's probably going to die. Prismatic Ending or something. I think it's still worth casting, because the upside of it not dying and me just playing a Pyromancer is pretty huge. So I think it's worth it. Even though it is so likely to die. Like, if I dash it on turn 2, I'm likely not going to cast any spells off of it, because their deck probably doesn't have that many 1-mana spells. I guess they might be playing a Chalice deck, I'm not really sure, but... Alright, Watery Grave untapped, pass. I will go to attacks. I guess I should have played my land first in case they had Snapcaster Mage. Alright, they had Fatal Push, sure. Let's play Catacombs, pass the turn. Playing Catacombs just to thin my deck a little bit. I'm just going to stomp them EOT. This looks like a Teferi. So they're probably going to plus. Yeah, I think I'm still going to stomp them. Just get a forest. Upstairs. I just want to use my mana. I don't want to get time walked. And I kind of want to empty my hand for these Pyromancers anyways. Like, I don't want to discard the Bone Crusher. It's a pretty good threat. Could just play Bone Crusher Giant, and then if they minus Tef, I can stomp the Tef. Yeah, that's actually not bad. Let's do that. Just get a Mountain. I am down with that. I don't think they're going to minus. Although, I guess this line is bad if they have Prismatic Ending, because they just get to go plus and kill the Bone Crusher Giant. I still can't really play the Bloodbraid Elf. I could also discard the Bloodbraid Elf to Season Pyromancer if I don't plan on killing Teferi anytime soon, but if Teferi's off the battlefield, Bloodbraid Elf is pretty good. So that's kind of why I wanted to keep it, just in case. That's also not a bad draw, although I'm just going to attack Tef. They likely will have the Prismatic Ending here, because they plus Tef, which means they can cast Prismatic Ending at instant speed. So they can Prismatic Ending this, and then I can resolve Magus, but they can just bounce it. Kaya's Guile. Okay. So now I can play the Bloodbraid Elf for no value. I can play Magus and force the minus on Tef. Did I board out Bolt? I boarded out 2 bolts. Yeah, I think I'm still just gonna play the Magus. Let's just get a basic forest and play Magus. I think this is okay. It kind of forces the issue on Tef, which then if I draw a Bolt means I can just kill Tef and play a Magus, which is pretty good. Although I guess they probably just have Counterspell up now, which maybe makes this line worse. But it does force the issue on Tef, so it's not too bad. That was a good draw. So now I can actually lead on Magus. And then if they counter Magus, I can just kill Tef. And then I can maybe slam Elf next turn. Let's do that. Let's lead on Magus. See what they do. They're likely going to counter this. I guess they could just float mana and cast another Kaya's Guile, but... Alright, let's just Bolt Tef. Get it out of here. Now they have 5 cards, no Tef. So hopefully they don't have a second Tef. We can maybe just get some value out of this Bloodbraid Elf. Probably getting another island. No, they're getting Hallowed Fountain. They like fetching the non-basics. What's this? Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. That's, I guess, kind of a problem. Wait, they didn't search for anything? Oh, their hand is just both equipments? Okay. I see. Well, makes Bloodbraid Elf a little bit worse because they have 2 Stoneforge Mystics for me to contend to. So... Still think I'm going to cast the Elf. Try to hit a Blood Moon. Blood Moon would have cut them off white mana, potentially. So, meant to attack there. I thought I clicked on my creature. So I missed 3 damage there. Probably bad. It'd be at 7. Yeah, the 3 damage is actually pretty huge there. So they Cauldron me, attack for 6. Yeah, that 3 damage is going to be huge. Alright, so we're going to 9. Just clicking too fast. I have a tendency to do that. Yeah, Blood Moon a little bit late to the party. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can cast Blood Moon Pyromancer with 2 mana up. Let's cast Blood Moon, see what they do. I guess they might respond and activate Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, this would be a little bit different if they were at 7. Although if they have Batterskull, it probably doesn't matter anyways. They don't expect them to be on a Stoneforge Mystic deck, but we can, we'll change up our sideboarding a little bit. Thought they were just a straight up Esper control deck. All right, what do you got? What do you got? Blue-white, Snapcaster Mage, targeting... Why would they tap the black source? Interesting. Confused as to why they would tap their black mana and not target Fatal Push. It's kind of weird. Alright, let's cast a Pyromancer. Discard Pyromancer. We found a Ragavan, which we can dash and attack with the Elf and the Ragavan. And they can go trade. Yeah, this game's gonna be tough with the Cauldron. So we'll attack with both of these. They probably just go trade here, trade here. Yeah. Yeah, the issue is this Cauldron. Found the Blood Moon a turn too late, because they didn't actually have a basic plains in play. This they fetched last turn. So if we had drawn the Blood Moon a turn earlier, we would have been able to shut off both Stoneforges, and this would not be in play, and this game would be a lot easier. But as is, it's a little bit tough. Because we just don't have a good way to interact with Cauldron. Like, we have to start chump blocking it. I'm not even sure we can put enough toughness in play. Yeah, let's just go to game 3. Alright, so now that they're playing Stoneforge Mystic, I definitely want all the bolts. I might want Grudge. My issue with Grudge is not actually good against Cauldron Complete, because it has Indestructible. Deglamour, however, is good against Cauldron. And I might want Fury, although Fury's still not that great. I think I'm going to cut Pillage. I'm going to bring in 1 Fury. Let's do that. Like, I have enough answers to Stoneforge Mystic between Lightning Bolt and Bone Crusher Giant that I don't think I need maximum copies of Fury, because Stoneforge Mystic appears to be the only creature in their deck, outside of Snapcaster Mage, which is kind of whatever. I guess maybe it's better than Tracker. Yeah, I'm probably not trying to play a longer game against them with Tracker. Let's just do this. Alright, everybody, we're here for game number 3. Let's see if we can get him. We're on the play, and I have a Bolt for a Stoneforge Mystic, a Blood Moon, but no third land. This hand's kind of close. I think I like mulliganing hands on the play that don't have mana acceleration. Yeah, this hand's a lot better. I think I'm going to put back Arbor Elf and just keep Utopia Sprawl, although that's worse if they have Prismatic Ending. But I want to keep the Bolt, I want to keep the Elf as pressure. Like, I want an answer to Stoneforge, and I want the Elf as pressure, so I think I'm just going to put back this, which is better if they have Fatal Push. I'm just going to name red, get Basic Forest. Alright, let's see if they have the Prismatic Ending. They have a Marsh Flats, which I guess can get a basic Plains, but... Alright, you can fetch your Plains, and then they can play Stoneforge Mystic, but we can kill it with Bolt, so it's not that bad. So they go land Stoneforge, and we probably have to take a turn off to bolt it. I can't risk playing Elf. Ooh, they just don't have the Stoneforge, that's good. Now I can play Elf. See where we're at. Sure, I'll take a free Ragavan. Why not? Attack for 3. Go to 16. Still have an answer to Stoneforge, which is good. I guess they could have basic Island to Fairy. Or just Disenchant. Yeah, Celestial Purge, sure. Same thing. But now we got some pressure going. If they have Teferi, they plus it and it dies. They bounce Ragavan, we can just dash, kill Tef, hit them for 2. So it's like Teferi is just not even that good. Stoneforge Mystic we have covered. Because they could have a protection from red creature. That would be kind of tough, like a Sanctifier. I don't know if their deck has Sanctifier. Double white seems kind of tough for them. Yeah, Teferi just doesn't concern me at all. Like, I guess they minus on the... I don't even know. It's just not that good on this board. Yeah, that's fine. Like, now I could just Bolt Tef and replay the Bloodbraid Elf. This is kind of just whatever. Although, I guess if I Bolt Tef and replay the Elf, then I don't have an answer for Stoneforge Mystic, so maybe this play is bad. But maybe at this point I could just race Stoneforge Mystic. No. I just won't cast it. I wonder if they have discard spells. Didn't hit one, but... Alright, your turn. Flooded Strand. Like, now even if they play Stoneforge, they probably have to trade, go to 7. So is Stoneforge Mystic even good enough at this point? Maybe. Maybe not. Alright, probably Snapcaster Mage Purge. That was a really good draw. That was a very, very good draw. Should have played my land first, I guess. In case I hit the Pyromancer. Didn't think about that. Alright, 2 more lands is not the best, but... I will attack with all of my creatures. So they go snap, purge, purge the Ragavan, trade for the elf, go to 7. And then we still have 5 power in play, so it's, I don't know, it's not even that bad. Yeah, they go to 6 actually, because they fetch. They might not have a basic to get either, so they might have to go to 6 here. 7, Snapcaster, purge. I guess purge elf, block Ragavan, go to 4. And we still have 5 power in play with them at 4. I guess they could go land hardcast Batterskull, which would not be great for us. Maybe they're in a situation where they want to block elf, purge elf, go to 5 off the Ragavan, and then only have 4 power in play. But I kind of assume they're going to block the Ragavan. I'll turn off F6 just in case they decide to block the elf. Alright, they blocked the Ragavan. Nope. Changed their mind. Alright, Ragavan hits. Ragavan hits. Trigger. What do we got? A fatal push. Well, that's irrelevant, so you can go. Gonna push my own Pyromancer to make tokens. I don't know. I'm just spewing words at this point. So they're at 5. They don't have a Batterskull, which is pretty good. Just gonna thin my deck. Get a basic. Alright, what do we want to draw? Bloodbraid Elf again? Yeah, sure. Just speak it to the top of my deck. Alright, Bolt ya. Bolt ya, what now? What now? Go to 2, have 3 lethal creatures. Snapcaster Mage, not gonna save ya. I guess they could go push, snap, but they don't have a revolt trigger to cast the push against. They can push this block here, but then they can't push my other thing because they have a 3 and a 4. And they don't have a revolt trigger, so that's not gonna work. I guess path, snap, path would work. Path, snap, path, block. Cryptic counter tap, sure. Okay. They're still at 2, so. Alright, Ragavan's been pushed. I accept. Should have played my land in case they kill the Pyromancer main phase. And then I could have just got it back. Looks like I did not get punished for that. Let's attack first. So they have to have an answer for the Pyromancer and then a counterspell for the Bolt. They can't snap Cryptic here. I mean, they can just snap the block, but let me just Bolt them. Alright, they're going to target Fatal Push. I'm probably just going to wait on the Bolt. Wait till they tap out or something. Because they could still have a counterspell here. Like, I think waiting is fine. They could also have Kaya's Guile. So I don't want to just, like, fire off the Bolt into them gaining 4 life. Because they still have 3 mana up, so I'd rather just wait. Alright, let's get a basic. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exile Pyromancer. Still presenting a lethal attack. Like, they might eventually just... Yeah, so this should just lock it up, too, now that we have 2 burn spells. Can't imagine them getting out of this. Go Snap Cryptic. Or just Cryptic, tap, draw. Alright, I'll stomp them in response. Now that they're tapped out of Kaya's Guile as well. Should be good. Alright, they had drowned, but we had the Bolt. Got him. Light him up. 3 and 1. 3 and 1. I'll see you back in just a little bit for round number 5. Alrighty, YouTube, round number 5. Opponent reveals Kahira. Could be elementals, could be control. This hand is so risky. I mean, we have Ragavan technically in a turn 2 Blood Moon, but I think I'm gonna ship this. No, this hand's a lot worse. Alright, and I guess we're in for this. I think I'm gonna do it like that. Keep Elf, Giant, or Arbor Elf, Giant, Bloodbraid Elf, 2 lands. Blood Moon is pretty good against elementals. Utopia Sprawl, yeah, definitely elementals. Definitely elementals. I'm just gonna get a basic forest. Probably should have got a basic forest with this one, because Foothills can get a second basic mountain if I need it, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. Alright, Arbor Elf, go. Let's see what they got. They named blue, so maybe Teferi. Like, Teferi bounce Arbor Elf. That actually isn't the worst for us, because then I can just stomp with Teferi if they bounce the Arbor Elf. So it's not too bad. I can live with that. Fury Pitch Harbinger. Do they have an Ephemerate? They don't. Okay. Also, kind of okay with that. They're not putting Kahir in their hand, which is interesting. Alright, we'll pass. Looking to get a stomping ground. Maybe they'll give me a target for Bone Crusher Giant, but kind of assume not. Alright, so they're not getting white mana, which is interesting. Maybe they have white mana in their hand. I feel like they probably just have an Omnath, given the way they played this. Yeah, so this is just going to be Omnath, which I guess I probably have to pitch something to kill it. Which means I think I'm probably just going to pitch the Bone Crusher Giant and then look to cast the Elf next turn. I think that's the way I have to do it. Let's see what we draw. Wrenn and 6, huh? Yeah, so that actually guarantees our land drop too. So let's pitch the Bone Crusher Giant, kill the Omnath. It's nice that they're tapped out so they can't ephemerate the Omnath. And then we can just go Wrenn and 6, get back a land. Wrenn, get back a land. And then play land, pass. Look to Bloodbraid Elf next turn. They're on 3 cards. Could have another Omnath. That would be really bad for us. Would kind of make sense given they didn't do anything on turn 2 and they just didn't put Kahir in their hand, which is just kind of weird to me. Yeah, they have another Omnath. Not great. Not great. I mean, hypothetically, we can go Elf into Bolt the Omnath, minus Wrenn on the Omnath, but... Alright, so they're fetching, which means they have something to do with their 5 mana. Maybe... Well, they can't Fury, or they can't hardcast Fury. So they didn't get a red source. What is this? Gahira? Sure. They keep fetching basic forest, though. Okay, I guess with the Utopia Sprawl, it doesn't matter. Alright, let's just fetch a land, thin our deck a little bit. We gotta get pretty lucky off of this Bloodbraid Elf. We need to hit a Bolt, and then I can minus the Wrenn to kill the Omnath. Magus is a little late to the party, because they still have green, blue, red. I don't think Magus is good enough, so let's Elf before activating Wrenn, because if we hit Bolt, I want a minus. Alright, well, we got a Blood Moon. Oh, that cuts them off blue. So it's just green and red. Okay, yeah, I guess that's good. And then we can get back a land. Yeah, so this is actually still pretty good. I think I'm going to let the Wrenn... I could have attacked first, but... Oh, actually, maybe I should have attacked first. Because if they block, I can just minus. They can't really block. It's possible I was supposed to attack there. Although it's really good, it's going to be really hard to race the Omnath anyways. Right, because now it has Vigilance with the Kahira. Right. So I guess Wrenn and 6 is dying. And they have Solitude. Well, I wasn't going to block anyways, so I guess I'll take that. And they have no cards. Problem is, we don't really have a good way to kill this Omnath as a 5/5. Could draw Fury. Fury could kill the Kahira and then give us a blocker for the Omnath. Fury is probably our best draw at this point. Okay. Bolt is interesting. I'm not going to cast it. If they attack with the Omnath, I'll probably block with the Magus and bolt it. If they attack with Kahira, I'll probably just trade. They draw Fury. It's pretty good. I would say that's a pretty above average draw step. I'm going to take a hit from the Kahira because I think it's more important to try and kill the Omnath at this point. Also, if I draw Stomp, they just didn't attack. I guess they maybe misclicked. Okay, that's good. That helps. So, yeah, I guess that punished me for not bolting the Kahira. So now I guess what I'm going to do is just cast it, kill their Fury, and then have a blocker for the Kahira and the Omnath. Had I cast Bolt End Step, I could have killed the Omnath, which maybe was a little bit better. Bolt this, kill the Omnath, leave them with just a Fury. So yeah, I guess Hardcast Fury was the reason to EOT the Bolt. But now they just can't really attack, right? Although I guess I can't really attack either. We're kind of just in a stalemate. Could dash Ragavan. If they block with Omnath, bolt it. And if they trade with Kahira, then I guess that's just fine with me. Sure, let's do that. I like that. So I think either block is... I'm happy with either block. I think I'm still going to leave the Fury back because I don't want to try and race. Like, I'm not trying to race an Omnath. Although, if they block with Omnath, they just didn't block. Okay. I'll take that too. Your turn. Alright, what you got? They're pretty limited on what they can cast. They only have green and red mana. So, we're not in the worst spot. I'm just going to take the same line again. Just keep dashing this thing. They'll eventually block, I assume. It's also nice to not leave it in play, because if they draw another Fury, they can just hardcast it and kill the Ragavan. But I still want to leave this on defense. They're still just taking it. Alright, got an Arbor Elf. Go. Still no reason to cast the Bolt. We are just chilling. Chilling behind our impenetrable wall of Blood Moon. I don't know if they have main deck Foundation Breaker. I think some lists do, but if they have main deck Breaker and they draw it, that's going to be bad for us. I will say that. That would be bad for us. Alright, so now I can go... I can just kill the Omnath and just start slamming. Let's do that. Let's go stomp this. Bolt this. Dash Ragavan. Okay, they don't want to play anymore. Off it. Alright, Chalice not very good. Clothis, I don't think very good. Endurance, no. Tracker, no. I mean, honestly, none of these cards seem like where I want to be. The good thing is, I think this matchup is pretty favorable. You have Fury, you have Blood Moon, you have Magus, you have a lot of good cards against them. So I think you don't need to do too much anyways. So we'll just submit. All right, game numero dos against Elementals. Let's see what we got. The same problem as the first hand. Mountain Ragavan and a bunch of Blood Moons. I'm going to ship it. And this hand's a lot better. Keep it. This hand is a question of if you want to lead on Ragavan or Arbor Elf. I kind of assume I'm leading on Arbor Elf. But given that they led on Forest, maybe it's better for me to lead on Ragavan. Yeah, let's actually do that. Because the nice thing about leading on Ragavan is if they have Fury, they're kind of incentivized to Fury the Ragavan and nothing else. Because they don't really have any other good way to kill it. Or Solitude or something like that. Now, if they have Ephemerate, this is worse, but... Green. EE for 0. I don't think they meant to do that. Because they have a green floating. Well, this is awkward. Awkward. I played another one at 0. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, opponent. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Well, they got some explosives for 0, which I guess can blow up some treasure tokens. So that's cool. Attack. I think I'm just going to slam a Blood Moon. Let's get a basic forest. This has been an interesting match, to say the least. Fury, huh? Don't think I'm going to cast that. If I had 5 mana, I might, but I'm not going to pitch cast it. I will play a Blood Moon. Alright, I guess they're going to get an island. I don't know if they... Do they have basic island? We'll find out. They do. Okay. So they have green and blue mana. Do they maybe have basic plains as well? No. So maybe this is Kahira? Flamekin Harbinger, which I guess is going to get Fury. But Flamekin Harbinger not the best against Ragavan. Because I can just kill the Harbinger and then take what they get. Kind of assume they're going to get Fury, right? Foundation Breaker. Okay. So, hopefully we draw Bone Crusher Giant to kill the Harbinger. Did not. So let's go bolt this. Attack with Ragavan, eat the Breaker, and then play a Magus. If you're not going to play the Breaker. Alright, now we'll play a Magus. Just to further cement the moon lock. Alright, maybe they have another Harbinger. And then they're going to hope that we don't have another removal spell. Risen Reef. Okay, that one's pretty good. That one is not too bad. Especially because I don't have a removal spell. If I draw a land, I'm going to play Bloodbraid Elf. Perfect. Alright, removal spell off the elf. For the full Monty, of course. Never didn't have it. I got pretty lucky this game. And my opponent also messed up a little bit. Granted, I don't know how different this game is if they have... if they have an E on 1. Like, yeah, the Ragavan would have died, but I don't even know... Yeah, I don't know. I guess if the Ragavan died, they would have been able to set up Harbinger or something like that, but... Mole Drifter. Okay. Mole Drifter is acceptable. Utopia Sprawl. I'm just going to shove. Maybe shoving is a little aggressive, although they kind of have to block Ragavan. They don't think they can afford to block the Magus. They blocked the Bloodbraid Elf. That's the one I definitely did not think they were going to block. Maybe they have Fury. Yeah, they could have Fury, I guess. Fury would be bad for me. It does kill my whole board. Definitely could still lose this game. And it would likely involve Fury. I think anything outside of Fury is probably not good enough, but... It looks like they have it. Nope, just another Mole Drifter. Okay, I can accept. Well, I guess they could still pitch cast Fury. Alright, they didn't cast Fury, so we're good. We have our own Fury. That's got to be pretty good. Alright, Fury, your Mole Drifter. We have lethal damage. Okay, opponent has had enough. So, 4-1, and our only loss was to Surgical Extraction main deck Tron. So, take that as you will. As you can see, I think the combination of Mana Acceleration plus Blood Moon is in a pretty good spot right now. And I think this is probably the best deck that utilizes both of those aspects. So if you're into casting some turn 2 Blood Moons, I think Ponza's in a pretty good spot, so you could do worse than playing Ponza. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.